6 of the MRC, but it has made them absolutely deadly, and we are ready to get things underway here. Burn and T'Challa going to be the domination map of choice here for this matchup between the two of them, and I have been looking forward to this one for a while.
Let's see how it's going to play out with the picks and the bans. Interesting that we're right away going for an Elsa ban for Vulcan Red rather than the Gambit. Gonna try and get that one-sided Elsa right out the gate. Love that. That is like, we see a lot of teams, you know, go straight for the Gambit. When it comes over to this region, though, a lot more teams have an affinity for the Elsa, so get it while you can as best you can, but opens the door for the Chiefs to try and go for a one-sided Gambit in response, and of course, that is a door they are happy to walk right through.
Yeah, big pickups for both sides, really, because like you said, you know, the OCE teams loving to grab the Elsa when they're able to, but the Gambit obviously cannot be overlooked, and now Vulcan Red kind of have to follow the flow chart here. They got to take care of some of the other characters that Gambit's going to enable or rallies around with. Works well together here. Invis taken off the table by Vulcan Red, and the Chiefs going to keep the hurt on here in the draft. No Vanguard Deadpool access for Vulcan Red here, but something they're going to get a save on here, and potentially deadly. They are going to get the Rogue team up with Gambit out of this one, and you know, I think teams do kind of fear this one. We see that Rogue ban come out very quickly when Gambit's on the table.
And you absolutely should be afraid of this this Gambit Rogue team up, especially if you are a team that has a good Rogue player. It's something that I think she's one of the harder Vanguards to play, especially at the highest level. There's only a handful of people that we can think of that are among the cream of the crop when it comes to this hero. It's not quite like the Magneto, where it's like, well, everyone's got a pretty decent mag player. No, if you have a Rogue player on your team, that is a secret weapon that you can only bust out once in a blue moon, and when she comes out to play, oh, it is going to hurt. It is going to be explosive, as the team-up name might suggest. This is not a happy couple that I want to see south of the altar.
No, definitely scary to be staring down that side of the battlefield for sure here. And yeah, you're right, you know, definitely not Rogue, not necessarily a go-to pick for Vanguard players here in Ignite, but when Gambit is on the table, you can bet that whoever's brushed up on their Rogue is going to bring that one to bear here. Vulcan Red, their last save going to be Captain America. I've seen Impunity play the cap a little bit, I believe, here in this stage so far. No. Netra going to take the lock here, but
look at the hovers from the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Everything with that Gambit. They got the Loki, they got the Star-Lord, they got the Rogue, they got the Mag, they've got the full team up, and then just for the little bit of icing on the top, they've got the Vanpool. I mean, these are just the hovers. We don't know if they're going to stick, but if they do, and I don't see why they wouldn't, this is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's kind of a Venn diagram of comprehensive team building here because, of course, like we said, explosive entanglement on the table here for the Chiefs as they've got Rogue and Gambit. Of course, Gambit and Star-Lord work very, very well together here, and, you know, Magneto by himself can be pretty tough, but enabled as well here as Verino maybe going to make the swap over on to that. So, yeah, that's quite a firing squad coming in from the Chiefs. They lost a couple of things here and there, but, I mean, ultimately, they are going to bring so much pain here. It is going to be an uphill battle for sure, but I'm curious to see what Vulcan Red's got in the tank here. What are going to be the answers to this as we get ready for Warrior Falls? Going to be the first of the submaps here.
And to answer your question, it's going to have to be the Elsa, because anything less, I think, is going to be just not enough to overcome what is coming your way. You can already see Beast Node with the cards orbiting the fist there, ready to fly. Looking to try and pick his spot there, and you can even see Vulcan Red, like, they are afraid to approach this because they know they are going to be picking up their teeth off the floor if they are not careful. But they do catch Jongbek going for an interesting rotation there, a good early KO, and suddenly Vulcan Red have control over this this early point here. If they can just get themselves down on top of it, will force the Chiefs to back off.
Yeah, definitely caught him by surprise here, but Beast Node gonna fire right back here, taking down the Jeff. Gonna get up off of Lick's BRB, but that one taken out of the equation here before it becomes critical. So Chiefs picking up a big one here as Donald as well taking the Vanpool into this matchup here, and the KO feed flipping blue. The Chiefs taking it here in the very first fight. We do have a bit of a pause for a second here, but an opening salvo from the Chiefs. No surprise there. They have all the room in the world to play aggressive.
Yeah, and Jongbek, who crucially fell at the beginning of that fight, ends up coming back into play, getting involved in that KO feed, so that opening that Vulcan Red created for themselves off of that Elsa pick doesn't actually amount to a whole hill of beans, and the Chiefs just making the most out of this insane team-up that they've managed to get away through the ban phase. Like, how do you just let all of that through? I know we've seen crazier things, like we have seen teams, play the Loki Gambit and still lose, but usually when they're doing that, they're not also, they don't also have the Star-Lord, they don't also have the Rogue, they don't also have literally everything that Gambit enables. Elsa is a powerhouse to be certain, but is she enough of a powerhouse to overcome a 5-finger death punch?
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of feel like a 6v1 instance there for Ancient, who's taking the Elsa into this matchup. But like you said, you don't see that Elsa go up against the full might of Explosive Entanglement. All 3 pillars of that team up here on the battlefield for the Chiefs. And then, of course, the Loki, you got access to that back-to-back Rage and Royal Flushes. So if one is not enough, there's definitely another coming your way if both of those alt lights are on here. Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, definitely big win in the draft phase for the Chiefs. And it all just kind of avalanches from the Elsa save, right? I mean, I don't blame them for taking her into battle, but from there, the Chiefs just pick up win after win there in the draft. So it is going to be tough here, but, Vulcan Red, they at least have shown us that they got the potential to find a couple of early picks.
Well, they're going to need more than a couple of early picks. They're going to need to be copying off of Peter's playbook if they want to get anything out of this Elsa pick here. We're going to need to see some more Hexa KOs coming through for the side of Vulcan Red from Ancient here if they are going to be able to best the Chiefs here, because the Chiefs have map control, they've got control over the point, and they're going to be coming up on that God of Mischief before you can blink. It's only 70%, but Loki does a lot of healing, especially when the Chiefs are going to be playing all clumped up.
Yeah, still pretty fast alt charge, even in a post-global alt reduction world here. Maybe one of the faster ones here, and Bubblecu's got it ready to go here, so the God of Mischief already in play, and it's one Raging Royal Flush here for the Chiefs, and they're going to fan out, look to divide and conquer here, keep the hurt on. Impunity in trouble, but got the Symbiotic Resilience ready to go here. Beast Node will find one, that's onto Chronic, but right back up off of the BRB, so not a ton of play coming out of that Royal Flush yet, but they're doing exactly what they wanted with it, is buying themselves more time to make more capture progress.
I mean, the problem for Vulcan Red was that they heard that Royal Flush come out and they immediately popped a U-turn, went back into spawn. In Chronic's case, went there the hard way. Now they're going to have some ults to be able to fight this next one, but there is another Royal Flush about to come online. Good Glartrox coming on. Bubbleca taken down by Ancient off of a 2K there, but Jongvek taking to the skies with that secondary Royal Flush, and you can eat all you want, it's Jeff, but you will not like what is being served up for dessert, my friend.
Yeah, all reliable here. The Galactic Legend buffed up by the Gambit here puts him right back in the fight. There's a quick selfie for Donald there. A close-up.
You're a little out of focus, my friend. You're a little out of focus. Just move to the left a little bit.
I was going to say, I don't know who the camera guy was on that one, but maybe not worthy of the Insta upload there, but worthy of the XP boost that comes with it. So Donald already on a little bit of a snowball on that Deadpool. Jongback will pick up another one here as the Chiefs going to look for a 0 to 100 potentially.
Well, I mean, there is a little bit of a window of opportunity for Vulcan Red to make a play here. No Strategist Ultimates. They don't have to worry about another Royal Flush, and Chronic's going to have that Dance the Butterfly. If we can make anything happen with that, no, we cannot, because who needs a Strategist Ultimate when Bubbleca is just hitting the shots with the Scepter?
Yeah, and takes down Psylocke, still holding the Cutterfly there, so all the way back to spawn. Heartbreaker now for Beast Node, going to try to keep Vulcan Red locked out of some ults here, and locked out of the point. Warrior falls 0 to 100. No sweat here for the Chiefs on the back of, again, that insane team composition they brought to the table.
And you can tell Vulcan Red are already, like, realizing their mistake and playing afraid. Like, they're a little bit too scared. They're trying to make plays happen where plays just aren't really happening. They were getting some good potential out of this Elsa pick with that early Glartrox that came through. But, again, a Raging Royal Flush, a Galactic Legend, the Galactic Flush, as I like to call it. It's just such an insurmountable combo to have to deal with when you don't have something like the Invisible Woman to take a shelter at. And even still, if he gets inside of the invisible boundary, the Star-Lord can still burst through it. It's that much damage. Your only opportunity was going to be that Dance the Butterfly, but if Chronix doesn't actually know where the threat is lurking and the rest of Vulcan Red is a little bit too scared, can't get him the intel, can't say, all right, now is time to hit that go button, he's never going to hit it. He's going to hesitate, and he's going to get caught out on the point by Bubbleca, a lethal strategist in the backline. And before you know it, at 61%, that window of opportunity for Chronix, it's going to be gone. In fact, with the regen domain, it might close before you even know it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really just looking for the Chiefs to do the same thing here. Go aggressive, take the point, and divide and conquer yet again here. And yeah, you definitely see that Vulcan Red realizing the gravity of the situation they're in. And even though I thought I fully understood it, I am seeing it too, as Impunity going to try to make a feast here for them to get the ball rolling here. But Reno firing back. Yeah, absolutely insane. Right clicked down. Cutterfly now coming out from Chronix here. Gets some damage down. We'll find Bubblecup. So that Loki sent back, still holding the God of Mischief here. Now Netra on the Captain America. Freedom charge here for the rest of the team to try and charge in. Still missing their Psylocke, unfortunately, but they will try to play right on through here. Donald up in the mix on the Deadpool, chasing him down, and we'll find Ancient. So the Elsa sent back. She will get right back up off of that BRB, though. Jongbeck, though, going to take Solomon on the Jeff here, making a double KO there for the Star-Lord. And now here we are, yet again, the second time tonight at this same choke here on Stellar Spaceport.
And like, what can you do for Vulcan Red? Like, you're playing this Animal Crossing backline with the Jeff and the Rocket, and it's great healing in the neutral, but you don't have a Strategist ultimate, and anything less than a full Immortality Strategist ultimate is not going to be enough to withstand the Rage and Royal Flush combinations that come out. We're going to have the Swaveler onto the Luna Snow, but even that you can burst through with the Galactic Legend Royal Flush combination, and Bubblecup gets the dupe on Zerkrik. That's exactly what's going to be on deck.
Yeah, they're doing some rapid-fire swaps here over on the side of Vulcan Red, trying to find something that will stick here as the Chiefs 35% of the way captured to this second checkpoint here. So they are looking to make this a quick map number 1 here. Plenty of chips on their side of the table here. Chronix, though, picks up one off the Ultron swap here, paying a bit of dividends for Vulcan Red. Now they're going to contest for the point, but Donald, meanwhile, up in the upper rafters here of Stellar Spaceport, finding a double onto the Deadpool here. Jongbeck, Galactic Legend, yet again here. We'll find one onto Netra, so the Magneto off the table here as well. Chiefs just trying to continue to keep that pressure on.
The silver lining, though, is that the Chiefs did spend a lot in order to keep that pressure on Vulcan Red. I mean, Solomon fell before you were able to get that Fate of Both Worlds coming out, so you will have a Strategist ult coming into this next fight. You can potentially get your win here. You just have to try and find a way to protect the Luna Snow from getting squashed like a bug under the weight of Reno's Meteor M.
Yeah, I mean, one step at a time here for Vulcan Red. First step, trying to clear the way to get out of this choke here. Chronic's going to try and make it happen with the Rage of Ultron. Reno goes up, and a big dunk there onto the White Fox. One more KO up on the side for the Chiefs here as they are very quickly approaching one last fight. Dance floor on the floor from Solomon. It's already back offline now, and Beast Note on the Heartbreaker here, going to move in for the finishing blow. Donald gets one on the Deadpool as well here. Vulcan Red, one at a time, taking down Zykrik, and a double for Donald. One more for Bubblecon and Loki, and it's 0 to 100 here. A fast, rapid-fire burn into T'Challa.
And it's not often that I will say with my whole chest that a map was won or lost in the draft phase, but is there really any other way that you can paint it? Going forward, you simply cannot give a team the caliber of the Chiefs everything that comes along with the Gambit. You have to shut something down. The one member not of that team up is going to be the one walking away with the MVP. It's going to be Donald the LeBronald, this time on the Deadpool, but that was still the least of your worries. 9 final hits for him, but 9 for Jongbeck, and a lot of those were going to be amplified from the Rage and Royal Flushes, whether it was from Bubblecup or whether it was from Zerkrik. It was still enough to punch through anything that you had. Your defenses just weren't defensible when you've got just so much damage coming your way.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's not a lot of contention coming from the side of Vulcan Red, and I can't blame them considering what they're up against here, but the leaderboard doesn't lie. I mean, for how dominant the Chiefs were on that map, for the most elims to go to Jongbeck at only 17, definitely tells you that there weren't enough fights on the board that Vulcan Red were able to get in to even try to take these points here, and the Chiefs walk away with most of the medals here in this matchup as well. I'm 100% with you, CB. You know, I think that a lot of the pace of these maps are set by the draft phase, but it is kind of rare for us to really say that it is lost in the draft, and that's exactly what happened here. There's just no way for Vulcan Red to open that door because 6 pretty strong bodyguards standing right in front of it.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't hate the idea to let the Gambit through. Like, I don't think Gambit is unbeatable, but if you're gonna let the Gambit through, you also have to ban out the Loki. Like, I think that's just a given, and I think you're also gonna have to look at whether or not you ban out the Star-Lord, and now we have the intel that says, okay, the Chiefs is one of those teams that does have a solid rogue player, so now you gotta think about whether or not you're gonna ban her as well. So maybe, you know, for Vulcan Red, specifically in this scenario, the Gambit ban has to come through. I don't think you can try and go back to that well. If you have a good rogue player, like, you can't just let a Gambit go through against a good rogue player.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what started this snowball effect. So many problems in the wake of Gambit being on the table. And yeah, don't want to overlook Beast Mode on the Rogue either. Some great timing on those Heartbreakers as well, just keeping Vulcan Red even more locked down, providing them less opportunities to get in the fight. So yeah, gonna have to be a top to bottom scrub in the draft phase here for Vulcan Red if they want to get ahead on map 2.
And that's the thing, right? Like, that's why a lot of the teams go and reach for the Gambit ban first, because we talk about the flow chart, and Vulcan Red did not follow it. Like, you only get 4 bans in your ban phase, and if you let the Gambit through, then 3 of those 4 have to be used just to cut out the combinations. We'll see what the ban phase has in store for map number 2. We're going to cut to a quick break, and we will see you on the other side. Don't go anywhere, chat. We'll be right back.
The moon haunts you!
Hello, rivals, and welcome back. Day 3 of the Oceania group stage here. The Chiefs taking on Vulcan Red, and a tough one for Vulcan Red. A pretty big win in the draft phase for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Vulcan Red rolls worst ban phase of all time, asked to leave Burden T'Challa, and now we get to go onto their map pick. Where's the function going to be from here on out? It's up to them, but one thing I know for certain is that if you're going to let the Gambit through, please, please, oh please, for the love of God, start banning out the things that combo well with him, or ban him outright to begin with. Like, you simply cannot let all of that through. That is criminal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the shout on going for the Elsa first, but, you know, when Gambit is on the table, there's kind of a laundry list of some specific bans you need to do in order to dampen the effects of that Gambit making it through. So you get to see the full might of what happens when Gambit comes on through and all of the team building goes around him, and you get access to everything you could ever want here. So the Chiefs standing on match point after a solid map 1 win. Vulcan Red gonna take us to Spider Islands next for some convoy. Another one I feel like we don't get to see a ton of so far.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an oddity, I think, in both of the Pacific regions, in Asia and over here in OCE. I think it's a little bit more rare, but it's one of my favorite maps. So I love to get down on Spider Islands. I'd love to see some changes coming out in the draft phase from Vulcan Red. I do also kind of like this if you're trying to play something a little bit more front to back, a little bit more poke heavy, and I also kind of feel like this does play into what the Chiefs were just playing, though. This is a really solid Star-Lord map, especially on that first point. I think it plays very well for heroes like the Groot or the Magneto that we have known the Chiefs to play quite well in the past. I do think, you know, there is a way forward here for Vulcan Red. I don't want to count them out. I don't want to dwell too much in the past, as hilarious as that ban phase was. I want to look to the future. I want to say that there is brighter pastures ahead for them on potentially their last map pick of the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty rare treat to get to see that full power, you know, all of explosive entanglement on the table for the Chiefs here, but unfortunately, definitely not going to see that on the end of this second draft phase here, so the Chiefs take a very, very comfortable map 1 win here, definitely going to be back to the drawing board for Vulcan Red, and yeah, you're right, you know, I love the Groot stocks here on this map for sure, definitely can take a more methodical pace as we go through this one, but does look like Vulcan Red gonna lick their wounds a little bit here, and it is gonna be Gambit Band on both sides first. Vulcan Red also gonna save the invis too, so I like the change up here.
All right, so that does kind of signal at the very least that they're going to try and go for something resembling a front-to-back playstyle, and I don't hate that right now. You do see Jongvek currently hovering over the Daredevil, and I believe Daredevil did make its way into the pick and ban phase previously, so you know, there's probably a reason Vulcan Red wanted to ban that one outright early on, and we might see that one if a Protect comes through here for it, but we are indeed going to see the Elsa Protect coming through, so another thing that Vulcan Red tried to snipe early on. So now that we've seen potentially the worst case scenario, we're going to get to see what it is that they're afraid of.
Yeah, and I mean, considering what went down there on Burn and T'Challa, I have to imagine Vulcan Red are happy to take on the Monster Hunter instead of Gambit and crew. Full crew there showing up on map number 1. Invis banned by Vulcan Red, and the Chiefs will make it one-sided Elsa. They are going to hover that Daredevil here, potentially. Jongvek's got it locked in, so definitely feel like maybe chomping at the bit here, trying to let the Devil out if they will make the save here. Vulcan Red's got one ban left to go here, so approaching the end of the draft phase, definitely a better look here for VR.
I think, you know, going for double duelist protects in this day and age is a little bit risky, but if you're the Chiefs, after that last map, you're gambling with house money, so, you know, who really cares at this point? I also like the White Fox ban. That's another hero that I think has started to come in a little bit in the back half of some of these pick and ban phases, and a bit of an underrated ban. I didn't see the Chiefs reaching for it last time, but that's because, you know, they had the ultimate weapon last time around in that Gambit Loki, but without that, and with potentially something a little bit more dive favored coming out from the Chiefs, banning out that White Fox is a great shout.
Yeah, I don't hate the White Fox ban either, and yeah, you're right. Not a lot of motion with her in draft phases, but slowly I'm starting to see teams warming up to the idea of taking the Kumiho off the table, so that is the case here. Chiefs, no access to White Fox. They do walk away with Daredevil and Elsa. Pretty solid saves for the Chiefs, maybe not quite as deadly as the lineup they brought to the table on map number 1, but definitely a better position for Vulcan Red. They're taking Invis and Ultron, so we're going to go for a little bit of that damage amp that we've seen from them before. Cap open as well, and Impunity gonna hover that one right out the gate here. But last chance here for Vulcan Red to try to get back in the fight here on this series. The Chiefs, though, gonna look to also complete this in perfect fashion, just like their number 1 seed counterparts in Gen G. They just gotta close it out here on Spider Islands. Chiefs gonna defend first, so they'll be able to set the pace here.
And you saw briefly the hovers. At the very least on the defensive side, the Chiefs switch gears when they see the White Fox ban come out. Rather than having Jongvek on that Daredevil, they're going to realize, oh wait, we can just play a front-to-back composition with the Groot and the Magneto, like I mentioned, but with a double res composition. The Loki and the Adam Warlock both making it through the ban phase again, so the Chiefs are going to be taking a lot of fights. They're going to try and take them aggressively, have Jongvek play far enough back that he can get the healing with the snaps, but not be in any real danger. They do have to try and keep Impunity on a leash, though, as that Captain America is going to be harassing Jongvek for a not insignificant portion of this time if he is not positioned well. And, well, you can already see getting caught out there, and one Cosmic Flame from Ancient is going to be enough to finish the job.
And Ancients played Phoenix before here in the preseason and put in some serious work here. And yet again, Vulcan Red finds some early opening picks here. They've got the mission vehicle already on the move here and well away from their spawn here. Shake the screen there, Ancient with some spark procs here. Does get some damage down. Not quite breaking through, but at least able to push the Chiefs back for now. Maybe not Gambit and friends here, but definitely the Adam and Loki gonna be something to be feared on defense.
While the Cocoon is still down from Jongvek, there's a window of opportunity. If you can find another Elim onto him, you can make that one a permanent one, and at that point, the Chiefs will have no opportunity, or no choice but to abandon all ships here and back up, give ground, but right now, they're still playing with knowing they've got that extra life on deck. Jongvek doesn't have to back up, can still try and pump in the damage, build up that Karmic Revival. Bubbleclaw already has a duplicate here, and you can hear the End Song Inferno coming out from Ancient. I don't believe that's going to get much, but forcing out that regen domain, Bubbleclaw actually going to duplicate the Eternal Bond, and we're actually getting a little bit of Cloaky action.
Yeah, just like you said, we're going to see him taking some aggressive fight here, but Donald going down at the hands of Ancient onto the Jean Grey here. The LeBronald sent back to spawn just shy of that Meteor M. Bubblecut taken down as well. Run down by Impunity on that Captain America. Jongvek suffers the same fate here. Double KO for the Captain here as Vulcan Red definitely better looks right at the outset of Spider Islands. Beast Node, though, finding a big play on the Groot here. Going to fire right back. Zykrek going to get in there as well for a KO. So they're going to fight right back here, but definitely a lot more of an even trade so far.
What a clutch strangling prison from Beast Node, able to get 2 off of the back of that. And the Chiefs, even though they lost several members in that fight, they look like they're at full strength. They are not flinching at all. Reno taken to the skies with this Elsa. There is a threat up there with the Ultron, but Jongvek doing his best to try and keep that one in check. Get a little bit of spam damage down there. Keep the angles in favor of Reno. You can tell from on high, Reno wants to drop down and hit a big Glartrox, potentially an off-mapper. Looking to maybe bait Vulcan Red in, but the Rage of Ultron is going to force some positioning.
Yeah, a lot of threats from the air here. The Chiefs in a little bit of trouble. They will survive the Rage of Ultron here, so just a little bit of poke trying to find something here. Eye of Agamotto finds Donald, who's over onto the Strange now as well. That's Netra from Vulcan Red throwing that one down here. A little bit of a tempo shift as the Chiefs able to slow things down, but Vulcan Red getting closer and closer to this first checkpoint over on their side. That is going to be the dance floor for him here, and Ancient going to follow it up a double KO on the Phoenix. Jongvek, though, got that Karmic Revival ready to go here, so the Chiefs gonna get back up, dust themselves off pretty quick. Song Inferno overhead for Ancient, and now the KOs matter here. 1 KO on to Zykrek, no res for them. Jongvek in a little bit of trouble here too. The Chiefs gonna try to battle back. Apex Predator goes down, but Jongvek finds one on the Atom here too. Impunity going down, and one for Beast Node here. Solman, the Invisible Woman, sent back to spawn. Donald getting one onto the Luna as well. So the Chiefs slowing Vulcan Red down to a halt here. 30 seconds left to go, running out of time to find an answer.
And the Chiefs are playing with confidence right now, and despite Vulcan Red's best efforts, they haven't been able to shake that confidence. You can see with other teams, when you start to get that man advantage, you start to back off. The Chiefs are not doing that. They are throwing down. They are taking these fights even when they're down a man, because they know all it takes is one shot, one big ult, one Cosmic Cluster, one Glartrox, whatever it is. Last time around, Beast Node was clutch with a Strangling Prison. We could see that again, and if we do, we will not be seeing Point B on Spider Islands.
Yeah, we are basically down to one more fight here for Vulcan Red. They're going to go into overtime. Impunity on the roof here, looking for an opportunity to get in on the cap. Gets right into the mix here, right up behind some of the Chiefs, and they're going to go ahead and throw down that Eternal Bond here from Zykrek. Beast Node's got Strangling Prison as well. Netra, though, going to try to battle it back. Eye of Agamotto is good. We'll find Reno, and they'll finish him off here, trading back and forth here. 2 for 1, 2 for 2 now. They even it out. Ancient on that Phoenix, got the Song Inferno ready to go again as well, and by air here, Vulcan Red will make one more stand. Triple KO now for Ancient onto Jongvek, so the Atom sent down. I do believe he's going to cocoon off of that, but no time for Vulcan Red to get back on the point. Nobody there to hold it down, and the time ticks away.
Impunity with the dash. He saw disaster and did all he could to prevent it, but was just a hair too slow, and Ancient was so focused on trying to get that second elim onto Jongvek after the cocoon came out, but it just didn't come, and everybody was looking at this Adam Warlock trying to shut down the potentiality of a res composition. No one was looking at the objective, or at the very least, no one who was left alive after that bloodbath at the end was able to look at the cart, and that is all that the Chiefs need to secure the dub on the defensive side. So they have set themselves up for success. All they got to do is not even cap the entirety of Point A. There's less than 100 meters between them and matching Gen G's perfect group stage. And just like I said, they're playing with confidence. And after that, Vulcan Red, I don't know if you have enough left in the tank to shake it.
Yeah, it's basically a layup here for the Chiefs. All they got to do is walk on to that finish line that Impunity's walking over right now here. A dire situation for Vulcan Red here. You know, they definitely seem to be rallying there at the very end and just got, like you said, a little bit too caught up in the fight, and Impunity realized it just a hair too late. So a heartbreaker there on offense for VR. They've got a shot here. They've got a little ground to play with, but the Chiefs, of course, going to come out the gate hot and get heavy here. Reno on the Daredevil, Jongbek on the Elsa. They are going to look to just conquer right out the gate.
And Vulcan Red with a triple with that double res composition. Realistically, like, they have no choice but to play for something this aggressive, something this on cart, but they're already giving way more space than they should be with this composition. That's going to give Jongbek the angles and going to give Reno access to some of these flank routes, and you can already see the Sonic Pursuit. He has got his sights set on the backline, and if he gets a backliner, it might be over, but there's one, there's two, they're already down!
Double KO for Jongbek and Beast Note here. The Venom and the Elsa making a triple KO for the Symbiote here. Zykrek will get in the KO feed as well here. Door wide open. Lick over onto the Strange, though. Gonna get him a portal, so they will have an opportunity to recontest here, but that's pretty much what we were expecting from the Chiefs right out the gate. Swinging here, looking to just close this out. Just under 60 seconds of their time away, and they are looking clean here as Vulcan Red come through the portal, trying to contest here. Nobody's got ults, so they got a little bit of time in the neutral here.
But, I mean, the Chiefs, they weren't born yesterday. They knew this portal was coming. Vulcan Red, they walk through and they just find the Chiefs in all different angles. Their heads have to be on a swivel. They can't pin anyone down. Able to find one here, but Jongbek releasing the Glartrox, and oh, this boy is feasting.
Yeah, complete buffet here, top to bottom. Vulcan Red, the lights go out. The portal from Strange already used their cocoon from Chronix to try and stay here, but Reno will hunt him down. And now the way wide open here. Vulcan Red gonna try to mad dash here back to the point, try to throw anything they can to try and get back on the point. Beast Note takes down Netra's Venom. There is nobody here from Vulcan Red. They're getting out the door here, but it's gonna be a body block attempt from the Chiefs. Donald goes up for the dunk here, does find one there. LeBron taken down. Solman on the Venom here. One very early KO. Jongbek takes to the sky to find impunity. Reno on the ground on the Daredevil yet again here, one by one. Vulcan Red falls here. The chokehold locked in from the Chiefs, and they will take Spider Islands and the series. Flawless group stage run for them.
We got our one. We got our LeBron moment in this series, and it came right at the tail end. The exclamation point on an emphatic Chiefs win. That was decisive. That was a statement. And oh, poor Vulcan Red had to be the victims here. But the Chiefs, they looked clean. They look like they are ready to take on the best in the world, or at the very least, the best in OCE. They have got Gen G firmly in their sights, and they're saying, it's you and it's me in playoffs. I know it's a ways away. I know we got a couple more steps to get there, but anything between here and there for us is just going to be a road bump.
Yeah, we know Gen G thinking very similarly. We already heard from Bobo that they got their eyes set on the Chiefs here, so very quickly speeding towards that matchup in the playoffs. But both of the top seeds coming into tonight hold those top dog spots in both groups, and both of them 6-0 overall map score here. And again, the Chiefs off the back of an insane composition on map 1 and some serious heads-up play here on Spider Islands for map 2. You know, the rally from Vulcan Red, you know, you saw on their offensive run so close there. Ancient putting in so much work, a whole corporation's worth of work for this Vulcan Red team, but unfortunately a little too caught up in the heat of battle. They could not find a body to put on the point there. That lets Chiefs set up this layup that you see them lock in here as they take the offensive run. I mean, it is a tough one for Vulcan Red here, but the Chiefs looking clean and looking absolutely deadly.
And I think Vulcan Red also let the Chiefs play their game the way that they wanted to play it. We got to see Donald on his best hero all throughout with a Magneto, whether it was with or without the Gambit team up, doesn't matter. He still hits the dunks when push comes to shove. We got to see Beast Note hanging up on the Groot, and with some clutch plays coming out. This team, when it comes to these front to back play styles, you get Bubble Claw and the Loki, and you just profit from there on out. Like, it doesn't really matter what the front line does, because you have all of this capability coming from the back line, coming from the Vanguard line. That the duelists just get to have a field day. Jongbek and Reno can play whatever they want, doesn't matter. As long as they're getting value, it's going to be more than enough for this team to get ahead. They look so good when it comes to this composition. I might like to see a little bit more flexibility coming out from them, but I'd also like to see a team that makes them need to be flexible.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is another case of firing on all cylinders, everyone doing their job at every line, whether it's Vanguard, Duelist, Strategist, deadly as ever. And yeah, a team definitely looking for a team to push them to the limits here. Maybe it's that matchup with Gen G. Maybe there's another team somewhere in Group B in the other qualifier slot that might be able to do the job. But the Chiefs looking confident here, coming out on top of Group A, undoubtedly pretty excited about that win. I'm sure plenty to celebrate there on their their side. But of course, the job's not done. They got the playoff spot, but we'll have to see how they handle it going into next week. We're going to set up an interview because definitely interested to hear what they got to say about their kind of dream matchups or what they're looking at down the pipeline. But yeah, definitely a solid run here today. Open and shut. Quick day at the office. Another 2-0. And again, like we've been saying all night, CB, that's what these teams want to see here.
And also a sigh of relief for Fury as well, because with the Chiefs getting the expected result, Fury now also will qualify for the playoffs alongside the Chiefs. And those two teams did play quite close again. You know, even though it was a 2-0, Fury did make the Chiefs sweat from time to time. And I would like to see a little bit more of that in the playoffs. Again, you know, we hype up this matchup between the top seeds from both of these groups, both of them having flawless group stages, but that's not the only matchup that is on deck. There is still one more playoff spot potentially to play for in the other side. It might be Kanga waiting over there. We'll have to see. The Chiefs, I think, are going to have the work cut out for them, but they look like they are up to the task right now. And while we try and get that interview sorted, figure out who we're going to be speaking to, who we're going to get to talk to, I can't wait to see what is in the future for this team, because they look even stronger than they did coming through MRC. Like, I just got to say it. They looked pretty strong back then. It wasn't enough to get the job done, still fell to the wrath of Pirates, but now coming out here into OCE, getting to really hone their craft, they look stellar.
Yeah, I was going to say, this week of group stage really for the Chiefs has been kind of a training arc. You know, I got to see them play a little bit in some community tournament action too, and even from then, just a couple of weeks ago, looking even stronger than they did, like you said, in that MRC. So, you know, that kind of rematch with Pirates kind of floating out there somewhere, potentially down the line, especially once we get into stage 1, and these two branches of Pacific cross paths. Of course, Pirates in
I can't
action.
wait for that.
Yeah, I know. It's, you know, the dream matches, like we said, are really starting to come to fruition here. But of course, even before we get into the global tournaments, even before we get into Asia versus Oceania, you know, obviously the big question is, how do they handle a team like Gen G?
Well, I've got plenty more questions for that, and I know just the person that I want to ask. We have got Jongvek from the Chiefs here for an interview. Let's get right into it. I cannot wait. First of all, congratulations, Jongvek, and how are you feeling after a flawless group stage?
Thank you. I'm feeling good. Feeling really confident. I think this is the last match to solidify that, you know, we're ready, and yeah, we feel good.
Real quick before we get the next question, I want to commend you on one thing. There's so many times that we do these interviews with other people and they've got their beds in the background and their bed's not made. You look like you could bounce a quarter off of that thing, and I gotta applaud you for that.
Thank you. I thought I'd try and impress the interview.
Consider me impressed.
Good shout. I mean, clean cut bed, just like the clean cut win here tonight. I mean, you know, I gotta ask the burning question for me, you know, what was kind of the reaction when, you know, the pieces started to fall together in that first draft phase and you realized, holy cow, we can kind of make an absolute Thanos team out of this? What was the reaction for you guys?
It was good. I was talking earlier. I said I sort of had a 50-50 idea that they might ban the Elsa first, just because if they look at our previous matches, we're saving Elsa every game. So I thought there's a 50-50 ballpark, but I thought they wouldn't take the risk because Gambit opens up so much more. But they took the risk, and yeah, it opened up probably the best comp in the game for us.
Yeah, how did you feel seeing that they didn't ban out any of the combos for Gambit?
Yeah, I was really shocked that they let Star-Lord through, to be honest. That like really, and like I thought they were gonna ban Loki, but they're gonna try bait us into saving it, so we waste the save on it. But no, they just didn't end up banning it. So we got Loki, Gambit, Rogue, Star-Lord, Magneto, Tank Paul, 6 best heroes in the game.
Yeah, you literally got like the best composition possible. We interviewed Bobo earlier on, and we were asking about like what other teams does Gen G have their sights set on, and the first team that he named was you guys, the Chiefs. How do you feel about the potentiality of coming across them in playoffs?
It's exciting. It's really exciting, and the whole team's really keen to show how much we practice and how much we keep improving, and yeah, try and make it a 2-team region.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a big thing for me is seeing how much you guys have improved since I saw you in the MRC. I mean, you've cleaned up a lot here, but that's kind of the other question I had is, you know, is there something else you're looking to shore up, something you're trying to patch ahead of potentially a Gen G matchup, something you're trying to clean up before playoffs?
I think we're just gonna keep progressing, just in the game with our mechanics and our game knowledge and just our communication. I think we do have our biggest thing to our advantage is our flexibility. I think we can play a lot of things, and we can confidently play dive, which I think makes it the hardest matchup for Gen G, because everyone else just goes for the safe route and saves triple support and all this boring stuff. But we can play the Daredevil, we can play the dive tanks. So yeah, that's the real difference maker.
I think you just made a lot of fans by calling triple strategist compositions boring there, but yeah, having that flexibility for that dive does mean that you can take it to him. But you guys didn't even have to play dive this time around. You got to play a lot of mag group comps, and you guys looked incredible on that, and we've seen you on that before. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys get your hands on some of these dive heroes. Can you give us like a taste of like what those compositions look like? How's that looking in scrims these days?
Yeah, so our dive comp is confidently our strongest comp, but there's a common theme where I think every single team has banned Daredevil into us. So
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's a consistent ban line. So there's a reason they do it, and if we do get our hands on it, we'll show why it is a must ban in a full dive comp.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, definitely things to be feared there. I guess before we cut you loose, obviously you guys have had a stellar performance here in the group stage, especially coming out of the MRC. You have to be building some fans here. Anything you want them to know before playoffs? Anything you want to say to the new incoming fans for you?
Just appreciate everyone's support. It means a lot coming from like a sort of outside team through MRC, bit of a slow progression into the MRI, but all the support means a lot, and it definitely makes us play better, 100%. So thank you, everyone.
You heard it here first, chat. You guys are, in fact, the 7th member of the Chiefs. Your support is helping them propel them all the way to success. Thank you so much for joining us, Jong Beck, and congratulations once again.
Awesome. Thanks. Have a good night, eh?
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, take care.